Tonight's edition of our Nation Sports Show pays tribute to the memories of Vincent Jackson, who was found dead in the Brandon, Florida hotel on Monday. Jackson was just 38 years old. Jackson was drafted in the 2005 NFL Draft by the San Diego Chargers. Jackson played with the Chargers from 2005 to 2011. After playing with the Chargers, Jackson signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, playing with them from 2012 to 2016. Also, he was selected to 3 Pro Bowl teams in 2009, 2011, and 2012. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the entire family of Vincent Jackson. Also, 20 years ago, on February the 18th, 2001, the entire sports world came to a sudden halt when a legend, an icon, a champion in the world of sports, the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt Sr., was tragically killed at the end of the 2001 Daytona 500. Earnhardt was 49 years old. Earnhardt was a 7-time NASCAR champion. Also, Earnhardt won the 1998 Daytona 500, the 1995 Brickyard 400, the 1986, 1992, 1993 Coca-Cola 600, and the 1987, 1989, and 1990 Southern 500. Those are some of many of Earnhardt's great achievements in the world of NASCAR. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, we dedicate tonight's episode to these 2 men. Their legacies will live on forever as we pay tribute to Vincent Jackson and Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Just when you thought you had all the questions answered, those questions still remain unanswered. Tonight, our Nation Sports Show brings to you the latest news in the world of sports. Now that the offseason in the National Football League has just begun, what team will make that bold move to sign the former defensive star player of the Houston Texans, J.J. Watt? Also, breaking news came down today as the Philadelphia Eagles traded their former MVP star caliber quarterback in 2017, Carson Wentz, to the Indianapolis Colts. Also, will Zach Ertz be leaving Philadelphia? Will he join his former teammate in Philadelphia in Indy? Like I said, those questions remain unanswered. Also, tonight, we will be talking about the latest news in the MLB, the NBA, and so much more around the world of sports. The Nation speaks next.
from the gridiron to the court, talking all Betty's sports. Members of the Boston Urban Nation bring to you our Nation Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Jon Blayne, Marks from New Mexico, Carl Rock, Kevin Statman McDonough, and Steve Wyand.
Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of the Our Nation Sports Show, coming at you like we do. Hold on, give me 1 second here. Coming at you like we do every Thursday night from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. or whenever the hell we decide to stop the show for the night. But I am joined by a great group of guys. I'm going to bring them all in right now, starting off with one of the people who is one of my right-hand men in this whole project. He's also getting snow right now as we speak, similar to me. That's Carl Roberts. Carl, how you doing tonight?
What's up, guys? Just want to say, please, sir, take a time out and say a prayer for the people down in Texas that is being affected by the ice and snowstorm down there. It's really, really bad. So please take a moment and say a prayer for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Next, we're going to go to somebody who does all the audio for us. Is also one of my right-hand men, Stevie Wonder himself, Stephen Wyand. And Steve, how you doing tonight?
Like the song by Tesla says, coming at you live. I'm coming at you live. What's up, nation? Let's talk some sports. Let's go, baby.
Coming at you now also. He joined the show a little bit late, but we're happy to have him on. Marks from New Mexico. Marks, how you doing tonight?
Marks, we can't hear you, bud.
That's what you get for showing up late, pal.
Hey, too. Marks, how you doing tonight, buddy? Still can't hear you. Okay, while Marks figures that out, we're going to go to now the guy who's making his debut. You've heard us refer to him as our stat man, but we figured let's bring him into the fun. It's Kevin in Massachusetts, or as we call him, Stat Man. Kevin, how you doing tonight? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing pretty good. It's Thursday. It's almost Friday, almost the weekend, you know. Just got to keep on doing like we're doing. And yeah, just like Carl said, let's say a prayer for everybody down in Texas. You know,
Absolutely.
What they've been going through this week, that is not something that they've really are prepared for. I think down south are really not prepared for a snow event like that.
Yep.
In general. And
No, they are not.
everything that we can do for them, we need to go and do that.
No, they're not. But how was everybody's day? How's everybody?
And we actually have Marks. I heard his mic go off.
Of course,
Yeah.
Mark, you missed that.
Marks, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good, y'all.
What's up?
Man, does it feel great to be back with you guys another week. Man, it feels like every show we've done, it feels like the second we sign off, also we have stories for next week.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if we end the show at 9 o'clock, 9:05, or 9:10. It seems like all the big stories happen right after we sign off.
Oh yeah.
But before we get to the stories that broke last week,
We got some news for you today.
Oh, yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
As you heard our voiceover guy say before, breaking news did happen earlier today as the Philadelphia Eagles have officially traded Carson Wentz to the Indianapolis Colts for a third-round pick.
Yes.
So this year they are getting the third round pick for this year, and next year they are getting a second round pick.
Ooh.
Those are what the Colts gave to the Eagles for the trade for Carson Wentz.
Just to add
That's
on,
very
the second round
interesting.
pick next year is conditional. If Carson
Right,
Wentz
it's
gets
got to be 75%. Yes.
then that turns into a first round pick. Or if you play 70% and the Colts make the playoffs, then it becomes a first round pick next season for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh, that's interesting.
So that's actually a good trade.
It is. It really is.
In a way,
Especially
it's a good
Colts.
trade for the Eagles.
But it's also, to me, an even better trade for the Indianapolis Colts because Carson Wentz gets to go reunite with Frank Wright.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
guys, this guy had an MVP caliber season in 2017. they were the number one seed in the NFC. They were facing Oakland in that game at the Coliseum, and he gets injured.
Actually, it was L.A. Rams.
LA, okay, my bad. The Los Angeles Rams during that game. And the simple fact that this guy went down and wanted to keep playing shows the gratitude that this guy has in playing in his sport of the NFL. And the last couple of seasons, he hasn't had a really great season. He's been injured at times, inconsistent at times. I think it was part to do with the system and the receivers that he had, because Alshon Jeffries was out several times. Deshaun Jackson was out several times. And when you don't have receivers and, like John has preached before, an offensive line to block for you, then you're not going to have any success. Yes, he may have had Zach Ertz at the tight end spot as a reliable weapon, but you can't just have one weapon to win you the games, but you have to have the most important thing is the offensive line.
Correct.
Yeah, I guess first question I'll send around to all you guys. Is there a winner in this trade? When you look at what Philly sent to Indianapolis and then what Indy sent back, is there a real winner here? Whoever wants to take it first, go right ahead.
The only one I'm going to say that actually is the winner in all of this is the fans.
Explain.
Interesting.
The reason I say that, you get Wentz going to the Colts. Okay, yes, they need a good starting quarterback. So he knows with the coach that he's going to be teaming up with, he knows his play. Yep. Okay. Now the Eagles are going to get these two picks. Okay.
Yep.
Where next year, depending on how Wentz does, is either it's a second round pick or a first round pick. So technically both teams win because the fans get what they want. And that's what it boils down to. It's not what the teams do. It's what the fans want.
But
yeah,
Carl, I somewhat disagree with you on that in a way, because at the end of the day, these guys get dealt to these teams, and it all depends on what that team does on the field coming up with the next season, like with the Rams, with Stafford, and with Goff with the Lions. At the end of the day, they both got traded to the different teams respectively that they weren't a part of all their careers. And it's up to these players, these picks, and whoever gets picked by both these teams to go out there, win the games on the field, and get the job done. So I see what you're saying, but to me, in the long run, it matters what happens on the field.
And okay, I understand your point, and it's well taken.
Okay.
Marks, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I say both teams win with Carl as well, but I have different reasons why. Well, first of all, Wentz wanted out of Philly, right?
Correct.
And now he finally got his wish. Now they have a young quarterback they can work with, Jalen Hurts. They can work with, they can better him. But also it gets the Colts win as well because it solves their quarterback situation. I mean, were they going to go in the first round to get a quarterback, or they can go to free agency? But now they have Carson Wentz. But I said this to Steven. Was it yesterday that they need to get him a weapon? Because to be honest, T.Y. Hilton is not the person he was before. He didn't do well with Luck. Well, he did kind of do well with Luck, but when Luck left, that's when it didn't go well for him. So they're going to need somebody to go opposite of T.Y. Hilton. But I have some interesting news about the Eagles as well. Not only Carson Wentz is out, but it looks like Zach Ertz could be out as well.
Well, yeah, that's been known for some time that Ertz is going to be out. But honestly, and then Kevin, we'll go to you about this in a second, but let me ask you guys this. After how the Eagles pretty much crapped the bed the end of last season, do you guys honestly think that Wentz would have somehow, let's say this trade never happened.
Okay.
Do you guys honestly think that Wentz would have still been with the Eagles after everything that happened to finish out last season? Or did you think this trade was going to be inevitable, that he was going to be gone?
It was just a matter of time.
Exactly.
All right. But Kevin, who do you think is the winner?
And I'll echo what Carl said and say the fans win because, Philadelphia gets a fresh start. They have Jalen Hurts as their quarterback of the future, so to speak. And then the Colts fans, they get to go and see Carson Wentz, a great offensive line, a great running back tandem. T.Y. Hilton's been hurt the last couple of years. Really isn't the same as he was back in the Andrew Luck days, but maybe given Carson Wentz, maybe things will be a little bit different for him now. T.Y. Hilton maybe can have a career resurgence of sorts. In terms of which team won this, it's a little tough to say just because it is sort of a small haul for, I'll say it, Super Bowl winner. Even though he didn't play the game, still gets a ring for beating the Patriots, which, seeing how the Eagles have been in the last couple of seasons, it baffles my mind how the Patriots lost that game. But that's a different story for a different day. But yeah, no, I think the fans definitely win this one. And for right now, I think the Colts are the winning team in this trade because they get that next guy that can lead them to the promised land.
Well, let me throw this to you guys now. With now them having Wentz, and look at how that AFC South has played out. You don't have to be a 10-win team or 11-win team to win that division. Does this now basically put the Colts as I know it's early to say, but the odds-on early favorites to win that division?
Yes.
Yes.
Because to me, you got a young guy here now in Wentz. He's reunited somebody who he knows the system, which also helps out. I think that's what people are forgetting. It's not like he's going to a team that doesn't know the system. I mean, Frank Reich was the quarterback's coach in Philly in the early days of Wentz.
Yep.
So to me, I don't know. It's just I think a lot of these quarterbacks that are on the move now, I think a lot of it got affected by the whole Stafford trade.
Yes.
Because teams were able to see, look, I have a starting quarterback. He can be the franchise of a team, but I'm not going to take nickels and dimes for him. I'm going to take, I'm going to try to, bankrupt.
Right. And what we're also forgetting to realize is Wentz is still young. He has not even hit the prime of his career yet. Stafford is a lot older than Wentz is. That was a desperation move, in my opinion, for Los Angeles to get an established quarterback that can possibly make those receivers in Los Angeles that much better. Because Jared Goff, he's all right, but he's not a piece that's going to win you a Super Bowl. I mean, he got to a Super Bowl, but in that game against the Patriots in 2019, 13-3, I don't care what the score of that game was. In the first 3.5 quarters, especially that first half, Goff looked like he saw a ghost. He was scared of the big moment. He was afraid of it. He was very timid on what to do, and the Patriots beat them. And I don't think Jared Goff has recovered from that game because no matter how much stats he puts up in Detroit, it's not going to be that much enough. Because to me, Stafford, he's established, more than Goff is. But getting back to the point, with Wentz is younger. Wentz has nothing to lose. Wentz is in a win-win situation with the Colts. And I agree with you, Kevin, and I agree with you, Marks. I think that the Colts as a team win this trade.
Yeah, absolutely. I just want to pull something up because I could be wrong, but I think somebody made a mention today that if you look at the quarterbacks coming out of, the first 2 quarterbacks now out of the 2016 draft are not with their team anymore.
Yep, correct.
Which shows you, a few interesting things with that. But I think the big thing that we have to look at, did Philly make the right move here by pretty much putting all their chips into Jalen Hurts? Because that's basically what they did here by getting rid of Carson Wentz. They basically turned around and said, okay, Jalen, this is your team now, run with it. Or is this basically going to be the inevitable, they're going to have to go back to the draft and try to get another quarterback?
I mean, you up north guys and Northeast guys know this about Philadelphia fans. They are the most diehard, or one of the most diehard, hardcore fan bases in any North American sport. They
Mhm.
see this guy as the quarterback. What their mentality is as the fans of that team is, you better do something nice in the first season of your starting quarterback for this team. Because Donovan McNabb did that. Michael Vick in his first technically started year in 2010, and Carson Wentz in his first couple of years with Philadelphia. They all had nice starts. This kid is basically being thrown into the fire. And now it is sink or swim to see if this kid can carry this Philadelphia team on his back.
Yeah, and that's my big thing is you're basically okay, I'll tell you this much. Does Doug Peterson now is he now in the hot seat?
I wouldn't
Is
say
his
I wouldn't say he's on the hot seat. I mean,
I'm just saying-
Yeah, I gotta agree with that as well.
I mean,
Okay.
you know,
Peterson was let go as the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
okay.
Yeah.
I forgot about
So
that part.
his seat is real cold at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
I like to throw something in.
Go
I
ahead.
think what Philly needs to do with Jalen Hurns, he's still this is gonna be his first year, right? As a starter.
Starter,
They
yeah.
they need to sign a veteran quarterback to mentor
Yes.
him. That's what they really need to do with him. Get a veteran quarterback. I don't know who's gonna be a free agent this year, but they really need to look at free agency.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you gotta do. You gotta even if it means going after, one of these guys who you can call the journeyman, you're gonna have to do something because you're basically telling this kid, okay, we're throwing you to the fire, but yeah, mind you, you have to play the New York Giants twice, the Washington team twice, and the Dallas team twice.
Yep.
Yeah, good luck with that there, buddy. With how hungry the Giants are right now for revenge, yeah. I would say some of you there hurts. But in some other NFL news I want to get to quickly, I think it was last Friday was when the JJ Watt story broke.
Was.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. First thing I want to look at with this. Does this now further the case for Deshaun Watson? Get out of Houston?
I think it's a combination of both. The frustration that's going on with the ownership and the management of the team with the players. Why would Deshaun Watson, who is a starting quarterback, and now your defensive tackle, JJ Watt, want to lead the team? Something's wrong there.
Yeah. Well, from what I've heard from, the stuff I've read, Deshaun Watson does not like the fact that Houston basically didn't consult him, the new head coach. And also,
Yeah.
let's be honest, Houston has not done well in the last couple of years.
They got rid of his favorite target
Yep.
For what?
Yeah.
Next to nothing?
for a
Yeah.
running back.
That's
But-
a trade that as soon as that happened, I would have fired Bill O'Brien on the spot.
Well, that's my thing also. The fact that Bill O'Brien lasted as long as he did in Houston, I think is what destroyed them. Because when they turned around and they said Bill O'Brien, they're going to make him the general manager also, I was like, what the hell are you doing? There's not many coaches who come from the college world and are successful in the National Football League.
Mhm.
I think the only one
And
that
there's not
comes-
many coaches that can actually be both your general manager and your head coach at the same time.
Exactly. I'm trying to think.
I
here.
know of one that
And-
can. And so does Kevin.
Oh, yeah.
But
In recent years, I'm going to debate that hard.
Well, except for last year.
Go and look at the last few drafts of Bill Belichick, and as much as there have been a couple of bright spots, there's really not much.
But realistically, the only one that comes to mind of a college coach came into the NFL and was successful, Pete Carroll.
Yeah. Agreed.
But getting back to Mr. O'Brien,
Mhm.
the game that still boggles my mind is 24-0.
Yeah.
The thrashing of the Kansas City Chiefs for nearly 10 to 15 minutes. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? I mean, this is the team that we thought they were in Kansas City. They're getting the bejesus smashed by Houston out of all teams, and then Kansas City puts a whooping on Houston, scores a touchdown, scores a second touchdown, and then the fun starts, the fumble, another touchdown, and then Houston gets the ball back, they kick the field goal, and then Kansas City or Houston gets the ball back again after they stop Kansas City for a moment, and then they get the ball back, and then they get stopped short. It's 4th and 5 on your 30-yard line, and you go for a fake punt? You're really asking for disaster. And then also, too, at the end of that season, getting rid of Deshaun Watson's reliable target, like Mark's just said, DeAndre Hopkins. He was the best receiver, in my opinion, in the Houston Texans days, with the exception of also of Andre Johnson. And the simple fact that this guy gets traded for basically nobody, a running back, and seriously, who the hell is going to build a team around a running back in this day and age in 2021? You don't. You build your team around the quarterback and the wide receivers and the defense that can get the job done, not no running back. Because as we all know, a running back's career does not last long in the National Football League. Usually.
Except Frank Gore.
Except Frank Gore for 17
Gore's
years.
a vampire
Yes.
at this point.
Correct. Correct. He should be the king of the empire, the running backs committee right now, because he's lasted this long. But yeah, it's just it's not a good situation for the Texans. Watt is out, obviously, free agent. Anybody can get him at this point. And I think you're right, Carl. And I think, it's a little on both, because Deshaun Watson wants out. He wants out. And obviously Watt wanted out too, because they were getting nowhere. So yeah.
Well, that was my next question. Go around the table. Where do you guys think JJ Watt ends up? If you had the pencil, not to steal Bully Ray's line there, but if you had the pencil, where would you end up?
That's a tough question. I mean, I hate to say it, but New York Jets needs a good defense, and he would be one of the top 8 people I would put there. But are they willing to spend the money?
They have the money. I think from what I saw, I think they're top 3 in salary cap.
Right. They might be top salary. They might be the top 3, but are they willing to part with the money for a player? No, they're going to get some cheap ass player that nobody knows.
Yep.
And they're not going to do anything.
Nope.
Yeah.
Where can I see him go? It's anybody's game. And I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't know. Would I love him to come up to New England for us? Yeah, we need it. But you know what? No.
Oh, I have a good one that I think will end up. And this is one that a lot of people have been saying. Carl, you mentioned the Jets. What about the Giants? The Giants have been known for years of being a defensive-minded team. You put him on that defense, oof. You're going to not only have
the problem with the Giants. Their defense is great. Their offense sucks.
Well, it's okay. And the issue with the Giants is, and this is one thing I've preached every show we've done so far, they have no offensive line.
No.
Last year they had 3 rookies. What's his face? Nate Solder.
Whoa. Nate Solder is not a rookie. He's a rookie to that team because he came from a great organization.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he opted out. And instead of getting somebody in there with experience, they went with 3 rookies, is what I was trying to say.
They had to go with
you should have said it.
They had to go with what they had.
Yeah. And again, as I was saying before, a couple of times to you guys, I understand a whole lot why a lot of the players decided not to play this past season with the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, they should have canceled the season. As much as a football player fan I am, they should have canceled the season.
Yeah, but you realize, Steven, sorry to cut you off for a second. You realize that would have happened, how much more money the NFL would have lost? They lost a lot of money already because of not having fans at the stadium.
Okay. But then, John, let me say this. You are looking at the money aspect, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are you taking money over the health of your players?
Oh, no, I completely agree. But I'm just looking at it the way the National Football League is looking at it. They're looking at it as we're a business. We're in it to make money.
Right. But then again, you got to look at it saying, okay, yeah, you were losing money. If you canceled the season because of COVID, which was a pandemic that nobody saw coming,
No.
okay, it started in off season. You've seen a lot of baseball teams canceling games. You should have tried and says, well, you know what? Out of the respect of our players, no, we're not going to have a team, have a league.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying completely. I just think the way the NFL looks at it is they want to be able to make the money.
They're greedy motherfuckers.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
the same league that fought hard against the CTE.
Yes.
The
Mhm.
CTE lawsuit that happened. So I mean, of course, they're going to have the season. Should they have maybe canceled a couple games or postponed some games when they didn't? Yeah, of course they should have. Cleveland comes to mind, not having what was it? Cleveland that didn't have a quarterback, or
It was Denver.
Denver.
That was it. Denver didn't have a quarterback on the roster. They had to have a practice wide receiver come in to be a quarterback. That game should have been postponed until they were all set.
Because they were even thinking of bringing in a coach to come and play.
It's like they were punishing the Broncos.
Yeah. But how many times here with the COVID, how many times did they move games 2-3 times for one team?
Steelers, Ravens.
Yeah.
Okay. That should have turned around and told you, hey guys, you know what? This is getting out of hand. Let's end the season now. No.
But no, money talks.
Exactly.
Health and safety walks. And with JJ Watt, where we mentioned the Jets and the Giants, I opened up over the cap to go and see with the $180 million salary cap this season coming up.
Wow, we were going to get to that too.
Yeah, we were gonna.
Sorry, jumped the gun on that one.
I appreciate the enthusiasm there, stat man.
Nice
So,
figure.
The Jets are number 3 in terms of cap space. They have about $68 million worth of space. The Giants have $906,000.
Ooh.
So I'm not entirely sure the Giants will be able to afford JJ Watt. The Jets certainly could, and that would be perfect for Robert Saleh as their head coach.
Well, here's my only thing though. You have Robert Saleh as their new head coach. Are you finally going to? I don't know if Woody Johnson is still doing the ambassador stuff in London, so I don't know how much control he's going to have right now. I think if you're Chris Johnson, I think the fact that you have that amount of money and the fact you don't have Brady anymore in that AFC East, there's no reason why the Jets can't put the pieces there, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, to make a run at that division. They
Look at Buffalo this year. They made the run for the division.
And
but Buffalo has a starting quarterback and an offensive line that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, but
exactly.
They've always been almost dead last.
The Jets haven't been nothing since their 2 AFC championship games against the Colts in 2010 or 2009 and the Steelers in 2010. Give me a fucking break.
Okay, but Stevie, you got to understand something. Jets also haven't had this amount of money laying around like this.
Correct.
And if they want to get their fan base going. Do you know how many Jet fans I know are clamoring for them to go for a run?
Yes, but they have. You can't just expect that happen overnight. It comes and builds and builds and builds, and that's done.
Oh, it's a lot of that's going to start off with the draft. I think a lot of that for the Jets have to start off with the draft.
Correct.
But I think with the fact that they have as much as Kevin was saying before, I could easily see them being in the discussion for JJ Watt, in the discussion for Deshaun Watson, in the discussion for any of these top guys. Because think about it this way. Look at how the talk's always been when it comes to the baseball world for a second. That the Mets always win the back page of the paper. The Yankees are the ones who always win in October.
Yep.
Look at how it is for football.
Yep.
The Giants are the ones that have always won. The Jets have always been looked at as the joke.
Yep.
You realize how first of all, if they can get to a Super Bowl and possibly, knock on wood, win one, they're going to build a statue right in MetLife Stadium for their head coach.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
the thing is, it all depends also if what's going on with ownership. Because like we've always said with the Wilpons and with the Mets, Woody Johnson's been cheap.
Yes.
I don't care what anybody says. Woody Johnson's been cheap as hell.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He's also been an idiot.
Yes.
I was trying to be nice there, but yeah.
Oh,
Can't put it nice, or can't put it bluntly. But you guys were talking about Watt and where could he go. I'm looking at the team that is a contending team that needs him on their defensive front. And a team that I'm thinking of, especially is one that comes to my mind right away, is the Green Bay Packers, because they need somebody like him to be on their front.
Mhm.
Because their defense is really not that good. It's okay, but they need somebody on that front that can get pressure, that can take an average defensive schmuck to become even better. Because sometimes it takes that one defensive player to make the other guys around him that much better. Now, another team I think that could use him is the San Francisco 49ers, but I don't think they're going to do it. That's why I think if knowing Watt, and Watt's a veteran in this league, he's been in the league for 9-10 years.
Yeah.
I think he has the mentality that I want to win a Super Bowl, and he's going to go to a team that has somebody on that team, whether it be a quarterback, weapons on the defensive end or on the offensive end, that can help get him over. Because when he was with the Texans all those years, he didn't have that much of a talent around him to get to that next level. Yes, they had Watson in the first couple of years in his latter part of his career with the Texans. Also had Hopkins, obviously, but they didn't have the full, complete team to make a move. And that's why I think J.J. Watt is going to go to the Packers. Marks, what about you? What are your thoughts on this?
Ooh, okay. Well, I think I discussed this with you as well, Steven, about who has the most cap space this year for the offseason.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns, right? So the Browns can give J.J. Watt the contract and the money he wants if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to say this as a heart. I like to see him in the black and gold.
Of course you would.
Homer.
Hey, T.J. Watt, J.J. Watt on that defense, and the possibility of Bud Dupree returning.
Yeah.
They could be that front four could be dominant, just like how the Bucs did against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Kevin, where do you think he's going to end up at?
Well, I was thinking Green Bay, just because, again, contending. But we're still unsure if Aaron Rodgers really will be traded or if that was just sour grapes, heat of the moment. My team lost, so I want to go somewhere else. I could see him going to the Steelers. I could see him going to the Browns. But that Jets comment, that made a lot of sense in terms of giving a young defense veteran leadership.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, I think J.J. Watt at this point in his career, he'll want to go to a contender. So a Green Bay, a Tampa Bay, since Tom Brady is down there right now.
Ooh. Danielle McCartan on her show on WFAN said this Saturday night, as I was talking to her, she said that what if he went to Tampa Bay? I'm like, wow, if he goes to the Buccaneers, geez, you thought that defense was already good enough? Huh, they'll be even more stacked.
Yeah.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, just, hopefully he can maybe play all 16 games for a change. The last few seasons he's been injury prone.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
All right, but going to wrap up the NFL talk with one last story, and it's a story that broke earlier in the week, and it was one that kind of sent shockwaves through the NFL world. It was announced on Monday that Vincent Jackson, retired NFL wide receiver who had played for Tampa and the Chargers, was found dead in his hotel room. First thing I want to get to is I just pulled up a New York Times article that supposedly now his brain will be donated for CT study.
Ooh.
Now, he ended his career as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Yes.
But also, too, earlier in the month, I believe it was actually last month, the family called to do a with a missing persons report.
Right.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, the family again did that again, but as a welfare check with the hotel he was staying at.
Yep.
And when the police got there, the maid service went in, and that's when they found him unfortunately deceased.
One more thing I just pulled up quickly. According to NBC, according to Pro Football Talk, they gave out the early medical report, and they said he likely died days before he was discovered.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I pulled that up before the show started from TMZ Sports. That
Yeah.
the housekeeper saw him slouched in the chair and thought he was napping, and in the same position 2 days later came to the grim realization that he's probably not napping.
Yeah,
Right.
according to what I'm reading right now, the claim now is he died possibly 3 days before he was discovered.
Damn.
So
Yeah, when that story broke on Monday, we were shocked. It was
Mhm.
you're like, and then you look at his age and it says 38, and you're like, wow, that is way too young to be
Yeah.
going at such an age like that, because this guy had a great career, Pro Bowl career in 2009, 11 and 12 with the Chargers and the Bucks respectively. The guy had quarterbacks that he could trust, like a Drew Brees in his final year with San Diego, and then those years with Phillip Rivers. I mean, my God. I mean, the guy. And he had Josh Freeman in Tampa Bay but the guy was a great player for his time in the league, and he will be missed. And the guy was tall as shit.
yeah,
He
I
was.
mean, it's sad when players unfortunately pass away, no matter what the circumstances are. Always pray for the families.
Yes.
And a lot of people look at the negativity of what transpired for this, but the way I look at things is, yes, it's a tragedy that the guy lost his life, but you look at their playing. That's what you should be remembering, how they play, not this.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I also will bring this up too, even though these guys and these gals that are in sports or in professional wrestling as well, they might make a lot of money. They might make a pretty good amount of money during their lives, but we don't know what these people go through behind those doors closed. They
Correct.
might be going through struggles of drug and alcohol addiction. So I'll say this right now on this show. If you have a friend that is struggling with any addiction, help them out, talk to them, and tell them that you're there for them. Don't put them down, but talk to them and tell them that everybody that around them is there for them, because you don't know what could be happening in the next 24 to 48 hours, possibly 2 hours, with that person that is struggling with their addictions.
But also, too, you got to look at it this way, Stephen, going off of what you're saying, is you might have somebody that's going through a hard time that nobody knows about, but just reaching out saying, hey, man, how you doing? Is there anything you need help with? That will start the chain of events to possibly bring them back. Maybe they'll be like, okay, I have a problem. I need help.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. And one other thing I want to bring up, and Todd actually brings up in the YouTube chat, former guest on this show, actually, Ryan Leaf, apparently is back in the news regarding Vincent Jackson's death, because he wants the NFL to relook into the whole CTE concussion.
And when we get into one of my segment later on, I have some interesting news regarding the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it was supposedly he sent out a video, and we're going to send out the video through our Twitter account, which is at ONS Sports Show. But yeah, basically, I'm trying to see if I can even get. Basically, his claim is that the NFL doesn't care.
Correct.
And I don't know how true that is. But again, look at how many players we have seen in the last couple of years die at such a young age. I mean, go back to what's his face, Junior Seau.
Yes.
Same situation. He died. He was, I think, only in his mid-50s.
Yes.
something like that.
I would think he wasn't even 50 yet.
But
Who-
his was also CTE.
Yep. Who
Yes.
was the guy? Somebody help me out, Kevin. Who was the guy that was one of the early? He was 50 years old, 50, and died of a heart attack, and they contributed his death to CTE. I think his first name was Mike something.
Yes, he was originally
Mike,
from the Eagles.
Mike
Webster?
Yes, I think that's
Yes.
correct.
Mike Webster played
Mike
for the
Webster.
Steelers.
Mike Webster.
Was it the Steelers?
Yeah, it was.
He was
Steelers.
he was
That
the
was-
center.
Yep, that's it. Mike Webster.
If you
Mike
guys want, there's a movie out there with Will Smith as the doctor.
Yep.
That performed the test on how to come up with the CTE. I highly recommend you guys see this. If you haven't seen it yet, crap, I can't even think of the name now.
Hang on, I'm looking that up now.
Oh,
I know what you're talking about, but
I
I
know
don't know the name
exactly
as
what
well.
you're talking about. Oh,
The movie is called Concussion.
Thank you.
Yep.
Concussion.
Thank
Yep,
you,
from
Statman.
2015.
that's why we call him the stat man, because he keeps us in line. But talking about the CTE stuff, it's like, no offense, and I'll say this right now. If this was a well-known player in the NFL would care about that person because it is a star player.
Agreed.
Well, I'm going to say this, Steven. You're saying the NFL, but what about the other sports that are out there?
Correct.
Boxing,
You're absolutely correct.
MMA, wrestling,
If
all
it's
these
not a-
headshots.
if it's not a well-known wrestler or MMA fighter
Yeah.
or whoever, they're not going to look into this.
In
But
a
if
way,
they-
you can even look at hockey with them going into the boards.
correct,
So any sport, you can have the CTE.
correct.
Yeah, absolutely. And
The simple
to
fact
me-
that this guy was not a big-time name in the NFL, I don't think the NFL is going to dive into this like they have in the past with a big name like a Junior Seau.
yeah, but it's also because think about it. Vincent Jackson, I mean, you don't remember a lot of his stats. You remember him for being gigantically tall.
Yeah.
That's basically the NFL looks at it as, well, the fans don't care.
And
Don't
just to be
remember
clear,
him.
I looked it up earlier this week. He scored 57 touchdowns during his entire career.
Oh, he was a reliable wide receiver.
He was a big threat in the red zone,
Yes,
especially
he
his height.
Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was him and Plexico Burris were like the only two wide receivers that I can remember who were like that gigantically tall.
Yes.
Don't forget
Oh, Calvin Johnson.
Megatron as well.
Calvin Johnson was a big
Yeah.
wide receiver for Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions during his career.
Yeah, but was he tall? That's the thing.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was.
Okay.
He was 6'5".
Yeah, that's tall.
And he was-
for a wide
and he-
receiver.
And he was 235 as well as a wide receiver.
Damn.
Yep.
He should have been playing tight end, but he was a wide receiver.
And
Yep.
he had a 4.35 40-yard dash. So he was a big boy and he was fast.
What was his dash?
4.35.
That boy moved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
but let's move on because we do have some breaking news from the NBA, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Basically, the only piece I will give is the All-Star rosters have been announced. But we'll get to that after we go to the other big thing that happened 20 years ago. Carl, take it away.
So 20 years ago today, February 18, 2001, was the Daytona 500. It is also known as the Black Sunday of NASCAR. Final lap of the Daytona 500. Mike Waltrip was number one. Dale Earnhardt Jr., number two. Dale Earnhardt Sr., number three. Kenny Schroeder was number four. And unfortunately, Kenny Schroeder clipped Dale Earnhardt Sr. at a 13-degree bank, went head first into the wall at roughly 160 miles an hour. They both landed on the infield. Kenny Schroeder was able to get out of his car. You didn't see any movement from Dale Earnhardt Sr. Kenny goes running over. Now, mind you, at this time, the net was still up on Earnhardt Sr.'s car. That's an indication that something's wrong. Kenny Schroeder checked it out. As he's taking down the net, he's waving medical emergency over. Very, very, like, going crazy to get them in there. Finally get Dale Earnhardt Sr. out. Do what they have to do. As soon as Waltrip and Junior cross the line, Junior basically parks his car right there and runs over to the medical field, the infield medical center. At that point, his father was taking out to Halifax Medical Center down in Daytona. It's roughly a 20, 30-minute ride. He arrived at the hospital about 2 hours later after the race was over, and they red flagged it, basically black flagged it, meaning they shut it down. The president at the time, I'll never forget these words. He comes to the news group that's there, the media, and says, "We lost Earnhardt Sr." That is one of the darkest days in that sport's history. Now, a little side note to this, Dale Earnhardt Sr. was number 14 of NASCAR drivers that have lost their lives at the Daytona Raceway. Also, too, at that point, rumors were going around that Dale Sr. turned around and told Dale Jr. to put on a harness device, which is a padding that goes around your neck and basically keeps your head from bobbling up and down. The report came out later on after the investigation is that his blunt force trauma, when he hit that wall, there was no way of coming back. It was an instant death. They've done a lot of upgrades to the car safety, driver safeties also, and a lot more padding in certain turns for this. But yes, they actually put a statue of Dale Earnhardt Sr. outside of the Daytona racetrack. And again, 20 years ago was the Black Sunday of the NASCAR world. If any of you guys have anything, I mean,
Yes.
there's not much more I could say, but go ahead.
Just real quick. I mean, and I remember as probably not 8 years old when that happened. I remember hearing what happened, and I went and turned and was watching the television screen, and I saw what happened, and I was like, "Oh my God! Like this is insane! Like I know who this guy is because I've heard my uncle talk about him. He was a huge fan of his, favorite race car driver, and I asked my parents, did you know who this guy was? And they're like, yep. And then I was like, man. And then, just reading what happened years later, what happened, the circumstances, and, I watched a documentary one time, and there was people within his camp that were talking about how nervous that they were with that track that day. Because they said, this looks really scary, with they had a feeling that, something could happen because the Daytona 500 obviously is a very fast-paced race, as all races are. But the 500 itself, the first big race of the actual season and the first race of the season, it's something I'll never forget, because when that accident happened, it's like the world stopped breathing. And after all these years later and reading about this guy and what this guy accomplished, man, that guy was a hell of a driver. And honestly, he was the best driver that ever got inside of a car. So, again, condolences, prayers to his family after all these years. His legacy is safe and sound and will live on in our hearts for the rest of our lives and for the rest of not only our lives, but the rest of the sports world.
And he earned the nickname the Intimidator because if you were in front of him, he intimidated you to move out of his way.
Yes,
a lot of the drivers would go on and ask them questions coming up when they were rookies. And there actually was a NASCAR driver that just recently retired that earned the nickname Intimidator Jr. And he drove the number 20 car for many years, and that's Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart basically was taken under the wing by Dale Earnhardt Sr. coming up. Right after that race, about a month or so later, Dale Earnhardt Jr. got into a wreck almost the same way, and everybody gasped, like, is this a problem? But when Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s crash happened, it's like, it's another crash for him. He'll get out of it. And when he's not getting out, you're like, what's going on? He's not moving. What's going on there? Yeah.
Yeah, because like you said, when that crash happened with Junior, not even a month later, like you said, my God, that's insane. I mean, when that happens, you're like, is he okay? Is he okay? You immediately raise the flag. Is he okay? Is he okay? Because that right there tells you right there that no matter how many wrecks or how many accidents these guys were in, at any given time, those wrecks can be dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. Just want to go to YouTube quickly because we do have some comments that were made about Dale Earnhardt. I'm going to go to Todd Tomlin first. He just wrote here, remember watching the race with my buddies. Always felt like for whatever reason that Dale had loosened his belt. We'll have seen harsher crashes without any injury, let alone death. Sad day. Then we saw somebody else comment on him, goes by the name of Pin Throttle, who said Dale died doing what he loved. Last thing he saw was 3 of his company-owned cars, his friend Michael Waltrip, Carl, as you mentioned, in first, and his son Junior in second, uncontested, about to win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that was definitely a dark day. By the way, guys, keep the comments coming in the YouTube. If you want to follow us on Twitter quickly, you can go to @ON Sports Show. And if you're on the Discord server right now and you're listening to us, you can also call in. Just let one of us know that you want to have a comment or you have a question, and we will definitely bring you on board.
Absolutely.
So there are ways for you guys to get in contact with us. So don't think it's just the 5 of us talking here. Believe me, as much as I love talking to these guys, I want to hear other people's voices.
Yep.
But Kevin, or let me rephrase it, Statman, what are your thoughts on seniors passing?
Well, I remember watching that race. I was 10 when that happened. And I remember watching it just, going, oh man, as a 10-year-old, like, that looked like a pretty bad crash. The rest of that, I don't really remember much. Just because the race was ending, okay, I'm 10 years old, so I'm going out with my parents doing something. And I remember hearing about it later on that night in the news, and just like in a state of shock, the good, not to say this, but the good thing that came out of that is all the new safety requirements the NASCAR drivers have in their cars themselves. It's led to there not being a single death in any of NASCAR's 3 series since, which is great. It's just unfortunate that it took Dale Sr. And I bought it at a flea market about 6 years ago. It's this little die-cast piggy bank of the number 3 grid wrench car.
Hmm.
And I'm just like, this is such a proud thing. I love this thing. I can't get enough of it. I've also got a Jeff Gordon. I was a pretty big NASCAR fan back in the day. And I kind of fell off. I watched Daytona, Coca-Cola 600. I watched the Loudon race in New Hampshire just because it's New Hampshire and being a New England boy. Gotta watch that. But you know, it was a very sad day. You know, it was very sad.
Yeah.
And also
Absolutely.
too, right after the crash happened and unfortunately the untimely passing of Dale Earnhardt Sr., Richard Childress, who owned the number 3 car, basically said, okay, we're shutting down the number 3 car. About 2 months later, Kevin Harvick was driving the number 29 car. Well, they showed an in cab view of outside, and on the pillar by his head was the number 3. So what they did was they took the 3 cars, repainted it, new decals, put the number 29 on, but that was the number 3 car originally before it became its own car.
Well, let me ask you guys this. Obviously, I'm not a big NASCAR person. You guys are. But I know the talk always in baseball is there certain numbers that become synonymous. Like that's what I was gonna say. When you think
If you
of
ever
NASCAR,
watch a race, especially like Daytona, anytime they're racing down in Daytona, I believe it's Charlottesville now, on the 4th lap, the 4th turn, you'll see everybody in the stand. They don't do it this way. It's this way for Earnhardt.
okay,
It's the 3 fingers representing the number 3, but also Earnhardt.
Yep.
absolutely.
We also don't hear the announcers during that 3rd lap. You know, they lay out. So it's a touching
They
tribute.
just be quiet. Now, also too, when it happened with the crash happened, you heard Darrell Waltrip up in the commentator's booth, who is a very good friend of Earnhardt. You can hear the emotions in his voice that something was wrong, because he's like, I hope he's okay. I hope he's okay. Like nothing's going on. You also have on YouTube, if you go to YouTube and type in Dale Earnhardt Sr., you see the ambulance leaving Daytona, the racetrack, to the hospital. 10 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour. Right there, you knew he was gone before he even got to the hospital. Because if it was any other kind of wreck, they would have been flying.
Yeah.
That was basically the funeral procession from there to the hospital.
Okay, last thing I want to bring up. There's always been the talk of the GOAT.
Earnhardt Sr.
No questions asked.
Okay.
It's Earnhardt, without a doubt.
Yes, you have the King, Richard Petty. You have all these other great legends, but nobody will ever top Dale Earnhardt Sr.
And even I know this as a casual NASCAR guy. Dale Earnhardt Sr. is the man and was the man throughout his entire life. Nobody drove like that man. That guy was aggressive. That guy was the Michael Jordan of NASCAR. That guy was a winner, a champion, an icon. And his legacy, like I said in that pre-audio recording, his legacy will live on for eternity.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I was going to say it's like after Tom Brady won his 7th ring, what do we see? What is he better than Michael Jordan? And you can't equate Michael Jordan and Tom Brady, two different sports. But in basketball, you've got Bill Russell with the most championships. So yeah, he'd be the king. Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt Sr. is the Michael Jordan. He's the GOAT of NASCAR.
Carl, you said we have YouTube comments.
Yeah, we have a few here. We have Ezra goes, I remember being only 10 years old, sitting with my dad watching that horrific crash. He was my favorite all-time NASCAR driver, and I still miss him to this day. God bless the Intimidator. And then Pinned Throttle goes, the Hans the Voice is a lifesaver. If Dale had one, he would have survived. Pinned Throttle, I will get to your comment on that one in a second. He also goes on to say, to think the 3-car was driven by Austin Dillon and he crashed in the 2015 Daytona, went into the fence, went from 190 miles an hour to 0 miles per hour in 30 feet and got hit by other cars. He got out and walked away. He also said Earnhardt was the working man's man. Pin Throttle, to be honest with you, if he had the Hans device on, it still would not have mattered. The impact of that car going into the wall at 150 miles an hour killed him instantly, no matter what. He had a collapsed lung, broken legs, fractured skull. He was killed instantly. There's no way the Hans device would have saved him or not.
Like you said, no matter how much protection you have on you, stuff like this can still happen.
Correct.
You can't stop death like that because you can have all the protection here all you want. If you come at a critical angle to something, it can kill you.
You went from a 13-degree angle pit into the wall to 55 degrees. From the point of impact with Kenny Schroeder's car up to that wall was 13 degrees. The nose of that car was at a 55-degree angle at impact. He was killed instantly, no matter what.
All right. Has anyone else have anything else they want to say about Dale Earnhardt before we get to the quasi breaking news?
My brother.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. They did it right.
Yep.
But let's move on because I can see where that conversation was going. Because Carl, I heard it in your voice a little bit, but let's move on. Get just a little bit of NBA talk here. I know this wasn't on the outline, but they have officially announced the All-Star rosters.
Yeah.
For the All-Star game coming up March 7th. Same day as AEW Revolution, by the way.
Yep.
Coming out of the Eastern Conference, we will see. Here's the starting 5. Kevin Durant, the Greek Freak, Bradley Beal, Joel Embiid, and Kyrie Irving. Ready for the West?
Sure.
Western Conference, we'll see. Kawhi Leonard, Nikola Jokic, probably.
Jokic.
Yeah, him. Luka Doncic, Stephen Curry,
Okay.
and LeBron James.
And your two captains are LeBron and Durant.
Yep. So
some of these players that are on these teams, especially like the guy from the Mavericks, that guy is a beast. He is very skilled at what he does on the basketball court. And Jokic, the best big man right now in the NBA. The guy is so skilled. He can pass, he can shoot, and he can defend. Yeah. And he can shoot free throws. Sorry, Shaq. Jokic is like I said, he's the best big guy right now in the NBA.
But let me, Steven, since you're the NBA guy here, I'll throw this to you. Any of the guys I mentioned, are you shocked by any of them?
Nope. LeBron, nope. Kawhi, nope. Doncic, I'm not surprised in a way because with the Mavericks, he's had a great career so far with them, especially this season.
Mm-hmm.
And Curry's Curry. I mean, what do you expect? Curry is who he is, despite not having that great Warriors team like he had 4 or 5 years ago. And then in the Eastern Conference, you got Durant, great player, two-time champion, with an asterisk around it because it doesn't mean nothing to me because you went to Golden State, you fraud. MVP regular season, obviously, All-Star MVP. You got Kyrie. My goodness, the guy is skilled. Who were the other ones you said? I'm sorry, on the
You
team?
have Joel Embiid, Bradley Beal, and the Greek Freak.
Bradley Beal, I'm a little surprised with the Wizards because that guy's had he's had a pretty solid career. But I'm actually really surprised that this guy, the numbers he's putting up this year, that he is a starting guard opposite of Curry. Now, the Great Freak, Giannis.
Yeah, he's. Yeah.
Antetokounmpo is one of the best players right now in the NBA. This guy, if he can work on that jump shot, man, the guy, he's like LeBron. See, LeBron, obviously, with the Cavaliers in his earlier years, he was talented, but the guy didn't have a specific go-to move, which means going to the, obviously, basket or jump shot. The guy, when he developed the drive to the basket with Miami during those years, I was like, okay, now LeBron has that deadly weapon to go to the basket. And when he gets going from the rim, that means his outside shot could get better. Now, LeBron's jump shot over the years has dipped at times and has improved at times, especially going back to the 2016 NBA Finals against Golden State, especially game number 7, when he hit those critical jump shots. Am I surprised that any of these players are where they are? No. And Embiid from Philadelphia, the guy is solid. The guy is a great player. Is he the best at what he does? Yes, but is he better than Jokic? No. Jokic is better. No, not even close, because the guy plays with heart. Embiid has had seasons where with Philadelphia, he's been inconsistent at times. And at times, in my opinion, he's quit on the 76ers.
Yeah, absolutely. Carl, do you have comments coming from YouTube?
Yeah, we have one comment. Todd Tomberlin says a lot of folks feel like Damian Lillard is getting overlooked.
Correct. I agree with you, Todd.
Yeah, but is that also due to the fact of how tough the Western Conference is?
No, absolutely not. I mean, in a way, yes, but in a way, no. Because Damian Lillard, for the past several years, has had incredible seasons. And I feel like he is the one star, like Todd said, that gets overlooked, no matter what conference it is.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, folks, that's your rosters for both the Eastern Conference and Western Conference. That game will fall on March 7th. I think from what I read, they're going to be played in Atlanta.
Hold on.
I could have sworn that's what I heard.
But
Yeah, that's right here too.
Folks like that, at any given time, we could be live on the air. If something's going down, we're going to break it down one way or the other.
That's what we do here.
Yes, it'll be March 7th in Atlanta.
Okay, but yeah. I'm curious to see how this whole thing with this whole – I mean, I've paid attention bits and pieces, especially with my Knicks right now. They're actually not doing too bad. And I know a lot of the talk when it comes to the New York basketball world has been on Brooklyn because, they have to have –
You got me stumped on this one because I don't follow basketball.
Yeah, I follow it a little bit.
You got Durant, Harden, the cancer of
Durant
Houston.
came from the Celtics, so.
No, Durant leaves the Warriors at the end of that season.
He was originally on the Celtics. Kevin, am I right?
No, he was drafted he was drafted in 2007 by
Seattle.
the Seattle Supersonics. He was not drafted by the Celtics.
He was. I didn't say he was drafted. He played for the Celtics.
No, he
Oh,
didn't.
you're referring to Kyrie Irving.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant also played for the
Carl.
Celtics.
Carl, we are live on the air. I know what I'm talking about. I might be blind as a bat, but I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Filter. Why don't we ask the guy who lives up in Boston?
And Kevin and I'll say this right now, we are Celtics fans. We know who's been on the Celtics teams for the past 10 to 15 years.
And Durant never played for the Celtics. It was Kyrie who played. It was Kevin Garnett is probably who you're thinking of.
Okay. First fight on the show.
I wouldn't
Maybe
say
until
it's
show
fight.
3.
I wouldn't call that a fight.
I wouldn't call it a fight. It's just simply pointing out somebody's mistakes.
Just a misunderstanding.
It's okay. It's okay.
I still love him like a little brother.
I know you do, you little shit. Anyways. But yes, the Nets with Durant, Kyrie, and Harden, and the cancer to the Houston Rockets. Yeah, the guy who quit on their team. Yeah, that guy. That guy goes to Brooklyn. And honestly, for the Brooklyn Nets, it is Eastern Conference Finals, NBA Finals, or nothing. For them.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, with the fact you have Harden, you have Kyrie, and you have what's his face, Durant there.
Yes,
I would say it's NBA championship or bust.
correct.
Because you're pretty much putting all your eggs into that. And with
Yep.
how weak the East is, I would be stunned if we're sitting here come April or May, towards the NBA Finals, and we're not mentioning Brooklyn at all. I would be absolutely stunned coming out of the East. Because realistically, Steven, who else is coming out of the East? Philly?
Who?
Exactly. That's my point.
My God, the Eastern Conference this year, like
no,
last year,
you could think Milwaukee. Milwaukee could.
Yeah, but Milwaukee doesn't have that extra piece.
No, they have the Great Freak. The Brooklyn Nets have.
The team that they had in 2019, I will give you that Milwaukee could have won a championship because they had a hell of a team that year.
Mhm.
Now, not so much because they have to have somebody besides the Great Freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, to be with him.
I just call him the Great Freak.
So,
'Cause
John,
Yeah, what's up?
what you were just saying about the conference and all that, Brooklyn is numbers 2. They're a game and a half behind the 76ers in the conference.
Well, that's my point. It's going to either be them or Philly coming out of the East.
I don't trust Philadelphia at this point to make a run.
It's Philly. This is your top 8 teams right now.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's Philly at number 1, Brooklyn at number 2, Milwaukee at number 3.
Okay.
Pacers are at 4. The Celtics are at 5.
Shockingly.
The Knicks are 6.
Yeah, that's the shocker of all.
Toronto is at 7. And Charlotte is at 8.
Yeah, that's
the Eastern Conference right there.
the fact that the Knicks, the team that nobody thought was going to do anything right now, is standing at number 6.
Yep.
I don't think New Yorkers will be able to handle a Knicks possible run. Just going to leave it
Well,
at that.
this is interesting.
Yep.
If you look at the Western Conference real quick, you have the Jazz at 1.
Mhm.
Wow. Lakers are at 2. They're 2.5 games back. All right.
Yeah.
But then you have the LA Clippers,
Not surprised.
Portland at 4,
Okay, cool.
Phoenix at 5,
Okay.
San Antonio at 6,
All right.
Golden State Warriors are at 7,
Wow.
and Denver is 8.
Wow. I was not expecting Denver to be as low as they are because they have a team.
Even this Golden State Warriors, I figured they would be up in the top 5.
No,
Yeah, but
no. They have to have the other pieces besides Curry. You got to have Klay Thompson there. And Klay
Yeah.
Thompson, I think, is still out, right?
Yes, yes.
Klay Thompson has not been with that team since Game 6 of the 2019 NBA Finals when he went off for that game.
Yeah, but we're also forgetting now.
They're missing that extra piece with Curry because Curry cannot do this by himself.
I mean, like we see in the NBA a lot, you may have that one big piece, but if you don't have the supporting people around him,
Correct.
that one person cannot carry your team.
This is why the NFL is a team sport. I mean, they're all team sports, but we talk about basketball. All individuals decide a game. In a way, I agree, but I'll say this: Every sport relies on every team aspect.
But
Giannis is not going to get to that spot unless he has a team that is complete around him.
no, absolutely not. But Carl, do you have the news from around the world of sports?
Oh, yes, I do.
Take that away before we get to our final segment tonight of Major League Baseball.
Okay. So, as Kevin announced before, the NFL increased the salary cap for the teams to a minimum of $180 million. Hold on one second. So the 2021 salary cap will be no lower than 180 million, a slight increase from last year's previous agreement between the league and the NFL Players Association. So that gives them a little bit of play there.
Yeah.
Now, when we were talking about CTE before, I said I had some news on this. All right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the NFL decided to brainstorm and come up with an idea to test new position-specific helmets designed for linemen. I guess this is it's being done by Vicus out of Seattle. So each position is going to have a special helmet designed for them. So, and I'm trying to see when this was going to go into effect, but it doesn't say here. So they're going to add about 6 more ounces of weight to the helmet to try and protect your head. Like, that's going to help.
That's what you're sitting here reading this stuff on the web, and I'm sort of thinking, what good is this going to do?
Exactly. But it's news, so I got to report it.
I know this, Mr. Reporter, but at the same time, like I'm questioning the reporter, which I'm not. You have to have. It's like we were talking about with Mr. Senior in the crash. No matter how much protection you have, a hit is a hit. A violent hit is a violent hit. You may continue, sir.
So we'll switch over to the NBA since we were just talking about that. One of the things that's coming out is LeBron says, don't forget Dobbs when talking up Nets. I guess he's talking about players from, yeah. When he was talking about this, I believe it's coming up for this upcoming All-Star game that he's talking about with this I guess gentleman or whatever, but it says he's talking about the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay.
It's the trio that's coming up in this playoff. Well, the All-Star games.
Correct.
So switching gears again, now we get into the upcoming baseball season. A lot of free stuff here.
And not just that, before, not to cut you off, but there was a huge contract signing.
Yes, we'll get to that in a second.
We're going to get to that eventually.
Because...
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Little teaser. Yes. Continue, please.
So, real quick, the LA Dodgers open with highest season wins batting total since the 1999 New York Yankees. They're looking at 104.5 in the ratings. Well, the batting, which is the highest anybody has ever had. This is just win losses total. I'm sorry, the wins.
Mm-hmm.
So for this upcoming season, the LA Dodgers projected wins is 104 wins. The New York Yankees is at 97. followed by the Braves at 92, Padres at 92, and the White Sox are at 90. I mean, the lowest is the Pittsburgh Pirates at 58.
Aren't
Jeez.
they a AAA team?
That's what I thought.
Great. Now I'm gonna hate now Pittsburgh
You
Pirates
brought up-
fans.
You brought up the Dodgers, and as you can see, I was shaking my head. The simple fact that you are betting that these guys, with their recently required toy, T-O-Y, Toy Story reference for you kids out there, Trevor Bauer goes to the Dodgers. They're thinking, oh, this guy's going to give us a lot of wins. Well, that's what Vegas wants you to think. But I think, bullshit. I don't think the Dodgers are going to have that many wins. They're not going to have 104. I'm so sorry. They're not. They might have 90. They might have 89, but they're not going to have 104 wins. No, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Steven, I think the word you were searching for is reigning Cy Young winner or
Correct.
Space Ranger, depending upon your reference.
Yeah. Also,
Love
another
I love it.
true. Also, in other baseball news, unfortunately, baseball comes to an end for Tim Tebow. He decided after 5 years of playing in the minors, he is calling it quits.
Who are the Mets not going to use as a celebrity?
He might have been a celebrity, but you know what? He actually did very well in the minor
Oh
leagues.
yeah, he did. He did. I'm not taking that away from him.
Also, too, Cleveland Indians ace Shane Barber showed signs of COVID-19 and has not reported to the training facilities. So they're trying to keep tabs on him with what's going on with that. NHL news. This weekend is supposed to be the what do you call it?
All-Star game?
Well, basically, it's the Winter Classic.
Winter Classic, yes, correct.
And they don't know if it's actually going to happen.
Oh, really?
Right. Because of the brightness, because they're actually up in Lake Tahoe.
Ooh.
So the NHL decided to move up the start time because of the brightness. And it is between the Boston Bruins and the Philadelphia Flyers.
All right.
Instead of the noon start, it'll be 1 hour earlier at 11 o'clock Pacific time.
That's 3 p.m. East.
Correct.
Yep.
Thank you.
And then that's on Sunday, but on Saturday, it's actually the Colorado Avalanche versus the Vegas Golden Knights in this particular ring. So it's 2 games back to back, like 2 different nights, but in the same ring.
Okay.
So because of that, they're actually moving it. The brightness up there is very, very bright in that area. So the NHL COVID list is basically on a decline. Thank God for once. They're only down to 13 players from, I think it was 20 at one point.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
The highest on February 12th was 59 players.
Okay.
Now they're down to 13 players, which is a big decline.
Mm-hmm.
The New Jersey Devils had to postpone a lot of their games because of COVID. They actually were able to start playing as of Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it on the hockey, unless you guys have something there.
Yeah.
Okay, going to college football.
Yeah, I want to talk about hockey. I think hockey is racist. The only thing that's black on that ice is the puck, and they smack it around.
Wrong. So, on college football, The American Football Coaches Association is asking the NCAA Rules Committee to address players faking injuries. That's the biggest topic that's coming out right now is players are faking injuries to get penalties. Also, too, the Tennessee Volunteers football has hired Tim Banks as a new defensive coordinator. And also, too, Michigan Wolverines quarterback Joe Moulton has entered the NCAA transfer portal, which means it'll allow him to transfer to other colleges with 3 years eligibility left.
Okay.
I know that also too the Arizona Wildcats have a new, I believe it's offensive coordinator or working with the administration of Teddy Bruschi from former Patriots and ESPN commentator for the football games.
Yep.
He is now back to his alma mater.
Okay, cool.
And getting into NASCAR, since we were talking about it, yes, today's the 20th anniversary, but some of the headlines from NASCAR. As most of you know, Sunday was the Daytona 500. In the first 15 laps, you had a 20-car pileup. Also, too, Bubba Wallace became the first black driver to lead a lap at the Daytona 500. So that was history. And also, too, Roush Fenway Racing Team becomes the first carbon natural NASCAR team, which means they are only using gas instead of using gas guzzling. It's a new procedure of reduction and fuel. So that's basically all I have here, gentlemen. Time to move on to the next segments.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh boy, this is going to be fun.
Folks, it's that time of the year. I know most of the country right now is either dealing with sub-freezing temperatures or dealing with a lot of snow or is in the process of getting more snow in the Northeast, to be precise.
Hey,
But Arizona and Florida right now are welcoming the baseball teams as boys, spring training is upon us. Opening day is only a couple of weeks away.
Yep.
Before we get to the news that's been breaking with regarding that, I wanted to make one quick announcement. Over the next couple of weeks, the divisions, as far as how we're going to go about it, which divisions we're going to go at first, has yet to be determined, but we will be starting our season previews of each division starting next week. So stay tuned for that because that's going to be a lot of fun. But the big thing I want to get to first, it was announced a couple days ago.
Yep, here we go.
That Fernando Tatis Jr., who, if you remember, a couple of years ago was in the run-in for NL Rookie of the Year.
Yep.
And he was competing with Pete Alonso. And I think if I remember correctly, he had a shoulder injury. And he ended up having to miss most of the season that year.
Yep.
It was announced that he signed a 13-year deal. Was it 13 or 14?
14.
14-year deal worth $340 million.
Ooh.
I will repeat that again.
And the kid's 21 years old.
14 years, $340 million. Now, I'd like to read what his stats were for last year because, his stats last year. Now, mind you, again, it was a shortened season last year. In 224 at-bats, he had a batting average of 277, 17 home runs, 45 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, and had an OPS of 937. Can anybody, for the life of me, explain how numbers like that, and I understand, yes, it was a shortened season, how numbers like that, because I'm even going back to 2019, when he played 84 games, had 22 home runs and 53 RBIs. So pretty much this guy averages about 20 home runs per year, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
How does that warrant almost a $350
And
million deal?
And I'll say this, John, right now, the guy hasn't had a long career. He hasn't been playing 5 to 6 years to earn that type of money. This is simply baseball. Baseball teams, baseball managements making stupid baseball move decisions, doing things. Yes, I know some people can say that, oh, they're securing their franchise. What the hell has this guy done in his short career span? Nothing.
No.
It's funny. Mike Trout, who many argue is probably one of the greatest players right now, correct?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Want to know how much he's making? How much his contract is?
Sure, go right ahead.
6 years, $144.5 million.
So you mean to tell me that a 21-year-old kid who has barely gotten his feet wet in 5 seasons, or 4 seasons if you want to go that route, and you're giving this fucker this much money?
Well, actually, yeah, because I'm just looking here right now. He signed a 12-year deal, Mike Trout did, worth $426 million.
Yeah.
Trout is worth the money.
Yeah. Tatis is not.
He
This
is
guy-
the highest paid baseball player ever. He also did this before he is even eligible for arbitration. What the heck are they thinking?
That's the key word. They're not. I'm looking right now at the salary caps.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, from what I'm looking at right now, hold on, because the way they do it on the spot track, it's called, they really break it down, and I have to try to figure out. Hold on, let me go to another site, because that one's not, it's a good site, but it's give me 1 second here. Okay, here we go. Just to read you some of the names they have here. Who's on the team for this coming? Who's still on the roster right now? You have Manny Machado, Eric Hosmer, Yu Darvish, Will Myers, Blake Snell. All reliable guys, pretty good in some sense. Machado is under a 10-year deal worth $300 million. Hosmer is under an 8-year deal worth $144 million. Darvish is under a 6-year deal worth $126 million. Will Myers is 6 years, $83 million. And basically, what I was just showing there, Tatis is going to be making more than any of them.
Yep.
But again, Tatis hasn't even played a full season yet. I don't understand what the hell the Padres are doing, because the Padres have done this time and time again, where they spend a lot of money and then come the regular season, they shit the bed.
Yep.
I don't get what they're doing anymore. I mean, can anybody try to figure what this team is trying to do?
No.
Oh,
I mean, I get the fact you have money, and I get the fact you want to spend money, but you gotta think logically. I mean, yes, he's young. He's 21 years old. It's the same argument that was made when Patrick Mahomes signed his deal.
Mm-hmm.
You guys think it was too early?
we're talking with Mahomes?
No,
Or we're talking
Tatis.
absolutely.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Way too early.
Way too early.
But this is what I'm failing to understand. If anybody on Discord who's listening wants to chime in, let us know. Or YouTube who wants to chime in, let us know. But
Got one on YouTube.
okay, what do we have on YouTube?
Todd Tarmelin says baseball salaries are ridiculous and need to be reined in.
Yeah, I can see that, yes. Especially with how certain teams, it seems like doesn't matter how much money they have, they'll just go spending crazy.
Yep.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. I mean, the fact that you have a team in San Diego who a lot of people are projecting to do well this year.
Mhm.
They're projecting a lot. From what I've been reading, a lot of people projecting the Padres to have like 90 plus wins this year. And the way the NLS has played out, 90
I
wins
love how
could get,
Steve laughs.
that can get you that division. Because the West has not been one of the more, yes, it's been competitive, yes. But you win that division, you can easily have 95 wins. That's one division where you don't have to have 100 plus wins. But I don't understand what they're doing. I seriously do not understand. And if somebody could explain to me and can put some sense into it, I would love for them to explain it. I simply do not get the point behind it. But what about you guys? What's your guys' thoughts on the signing?
I think it was just a stupid, dumb move.
That's putting it bluntly. Kevin, what about you?
No, that's being nice.
Oh, I know.
Well, he's being described for having only played 84 games his rookie year. He played 59 last year in a 60-game season. He's being described as generational talent, and he's definitely got generational flair. I'm in agreement that it's just way too early to go and sign him to this mega deal. Because what happens if next season, he's Tatis Jr., he's great. Having watched a lot of his games last year, because I got MLB TV for free last year, and the Red Sox sucked. So as I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, this guy's pretty good. I really do think he's worth money. I didn't think it'd be this quickly, for sure. I did, while you guys were talking, put in his first year for home runs hit. If he had played all 162 games, he would have hit 62 home runs with the pace that he was on for the amount of games he played, and he would have hit last year 47 if it was a full 162 game season with that pace.
Mhm.
So if you think like that, then okay, yeah, sure, let's go and give him 14 to 300 million. At the same time, that's off of 140 games in 2 seasons. We don't know what kind of production he can give over a 162 game stretch. And we also don't know how he's really going to handle better pitchers. Again, Los Angeles Dodgers now have Trevor Bauer. They've got a starting 6.
Yep.
It's not a 5. They have a 6 because David Price will probably be coming back this season from the COVID exempt list.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So how's he going to do up against David Price? How is he going to fare against Trevor Bauer? And then he's going to contend again with Clayton Kershaw, Dustin May, Julio Urias, I believe is the name.
Yeah.
And Walker
Yep.
Buehler.
Yep.
I mean, that's just a scary lineup. And then you've also got Kenley Jansen of the Dodgers. Of course, he's probably going to get compared because he's a shortstop. He'll get compared to Jeter. He'll get compared to other great shortstops in the game. I don't know. I don't think at 22 he should be getting a 14-year deal.
No.
That will take him to the year that he turns 36.
Yep.
If he sees to completion.
And the thing also people are forgetting, he'll be done with his contract, and the Mets will still owe Bobby Bonilla 1 more year left of his.
Yeah.
Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
But it's, to me, if like Kevin was saying before, if he had those numbers, then absolutely give him the money. He deserves it. Not a problem. But we're also talking about a guy who in his first season was injured. Obviously, last year was a shortened season, so last year kind of doesn't count in this. But the injury part plays into this as well. And to me, that's the issue.
Yeah.
Is, do you want to spend that much money on somebody who you don't know if you're going to get a full season out of him? Yes, I understand, players do have luck.
Yep.
For some games, you're never going to see a player play a full 162 game schedule.
Yep.
So realistically, take that out. Figure the most you'll get $1.55. I think is fair. $1.50.
Yeah.
How do you know you're even gonna get that much from him when the guy already had shoulder problems already in his rookie year?
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin, I think here's the thing also that I think we're all forgetting. He's getting this contract now. If Pete Alonso of the Mets, who was also in that Rookie of the Year chase 2 years ago, returns to his form and his contract gets put, is up soon, what the hell is he going to be looking at?
The Fernando Tatis Jr. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think now Tatis Jr. basically set the bar for a lot of these kids who are, up and I love saying kids
Because they are. They're kids.
But it's weird for me to say that because I'm so used to being the kid.
Well, you still are, but
yeah, I know. But to me, it's like I don't understand it. And the other news I wanted to get to quickly was that the Phillies are going to be losing their catcher now for most of spring trading, as JT Realmuto, who signed a 4-year, $150 million contract extension with the Phillies in the offseason, has had a thumb injury.
Ooh.
broke his thumb.
Yeah. So they think he'll be back by opening day, but it's still going to be. I mean, you still want to at least have your players there, being that, you want to get, especially with your catcher, and he's going to be probably their main catcher.
Yes.
When they break camp in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
You want him to get used to working with the pitchers.
That's like, if you want, also too, the Red Sox, they're one of their starters, Chris Sale. He's on track with his recovery from the Tommy John surgery he had last year.
Yeah, I get that. And to me, the whole thing with any of these guys, you use spring training as a way to get used to everything, and especially the fact that you had a shortened season last year. I think that's going to play a lot into it.
But also too, you can have a starter last year not make the team this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But guys, I have one segment left that I want to get into.
I knew this was coming.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Especially after yesterday's show. Oh, buddy.
Yeah. As many of you guys know, we're all wrestling fans on the show, in addition to being sports fans. And we all listen to Busted Open, either live, on demand, podcast, whatever way.
Yep.
Yesterday, they had Dave LaGreca on with Tommy Dreamer. And Tommy Dreamer's sports fandom came into question.
Oh boy.
Fraud.
Let me ask you guys this, and I want to ask this to Discord and YouTube as well. Do you guys think it's acceptable to be fan of two different teams in the same sport?
No.
Well, hold on a second.
Hold on.
As long as they're not in the same division,
Correct.
yes.
Or the same state.
Or
Correct.
conference.
Correct. The same conference, same state, or same division. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm a Red Sox fan and I'm a New York Mets fan.
Like Elder Mike said in his call yesterday, you're not going to be a Yankee Met fan. Who does that for number one?
Fucking fraudy Tommy.
Fucking
Yeah, that-
Tommy. Only
like-
Tommy does.
If Boston had a second baseball team like New York, LA, and Chicago, I'd be picking one. I wouldn't be picking like going, oh, I like them both. No, the other one could go suck ass. I don't. No way.
My
Get the
main
fuck outta here.
team that I support the most is Boston. The only reason I say the Mets is because when I was a kid, they used to have a fan club for baseball players.
Mhm.
They were the only ones because the fucking damn cheap ass Yankees, bunch of paid over babies, they wouldn't have that shit. Well, you know what? I was part of the fan club for the Mets. They used to bring us in and teach us the fundamentals of baseball. That's why I'm a Mets fan.
Okay.
Other than that,
gotcha.
no.
But no, you don't pull stuff like that and transitioning it like to football. I'm a Niners fan. I'm not going to root for the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, no. When it comes to football, I'm strictly New England. Baseball is the only sport that I have two teams I will follow. One with all my heart.
And same goes for
That's
basketball.
it.
Kevin and I are Boston Celtics fans. We're not gonna root. We're not gonna root for the 76ers.
Fucking wonder, so am I.
And so are you. The three of us are Celtics fans. We are not going to root for the 76ers, the New York Knickerbockers, and especially the biggest rival of the Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers. No way in hell are you going to be supporting your rival like that. Just like in football, Marks is a Steelers fan. He's not going to support the Cleveland Browns or the Baltimore Ravens or any of those teams or the pathetic, god-awful draft lottery bound Cincinnati freaking Bengals who they beaten.
Oh, let the hate out of you guys. Come on, let the hate out.
I'm just saying, but the simple fact that Tommy Dreamer comes on a show and whoever is winning the games or is doing pretty good, he's going to be a fraud and put on a hat from a specific team like the fucking Raiders in 2016 when the Raiders were hot and Carr was a potential MVP, but that didn't happen because Matty Ice took it when he went down with his injury. So Tommy Dreamer, once again, you are the biggest fraud I have ever heard and met in my life through wrestling on Busted Open. You wear so many hats, it's not even funny. You don't know where your head from your ass is half the time with your sports fandom because you got your head so far up your ass because I think you took too many fucking headshots in your entire wrestling career. What are you? You're a rider. You don't support your teams. The three of us, like I said, are Celtics fans. They have sucked within some parts of this decade. We're still fans, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Hey, I'm a Knicks fan, and they've sucked all my
You're
life.
a Knicks fan, and they've been sucking since the day you came into this world, before you came into this world. So don't give me that bullshit, Tommy, that you're going to support the New York Mets and the damn Yankees because you're a New Yorker. Bullshit. You don't support.
He also had to have a fucking NFL legend turn around and tell him, pick one fucking team.
Exactly, because
you fucking fraud.
Carl Banks is not going to be a godforsaken Cowboys fan or a godforsaken Jets fan. He's not going to be, sorry, Joe, love you, brother. He's not going to be a Philadelphia Eagles fan. He is a freaking Giants guy to the day he dies. He's not going to support teams because they're in his state. He's not going to be a Yankee fan and a Met fan. That's the best example. And also in the football department, he's not going to be like I said, Giants. He's not going to be a Jets fan, like I said, because the simple fact you don't pull shit like this. I am sorry. Rant is over.
I should know now. Just get Steven going and just let him go for 10 minutes. But here's the thing. Let me go to football for a second. I'm a diehard Giants fan. I bleed blue. Everybody on the show knows that. But I have a second team. And that's Kansas City.
Oh, boy.
But here's why, though. Because of how they've built that team.
Bandwagon.
Hey, at least I don't have toilet paper on my walls. Oh, wait, no, that's the Steelers. Mine.
Not the Browns?
Are we seriously going to do this right? Are we seriously going to do this right now, Marks?
No, I just thought I'd just put that in. But if we can get back to the two teams for just a second, it's like that for New Mexico. Even though New Mexico does not have pro teams, they have college. There's the New Mexico Lobos. There's the New Mexico State Aggies. People are like that as well. You got to pick one. You can't go for both teams. They're both college, but you have to go for one. Yep. And I hear this about especially when it's college, especially when these guys play New Mexico State and New Mexico.
Correct.
It gets like that. And That's why I'm not picking any team, because there's always going to be drama with this.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
absolutely.
John.
No, the only thing I'm just gonna say is the fact that to me, this whole thing of you can't be it gets interesting because I know people who will sit there and, like we saw with Tommy, will root for a team, and I like how Dave put it as what do you call him, something Weather Johnson or something.
Oh,
I forgot the name he used.
Oof. I got to probably have to go listen back to it.
But my thing is this: where I'm from, you're called a fair weather fan.
Not just that, John, I forgot to mention too, I am a Duke Blue Devils fan. There is no way in hell I'm rooting for the Tar Heels.
Gross. Gross. You being a Duke fan, that's just gross.
I'm a Notre Dame fan.
I don't follow college sports.
I like college sports. To me, I'm not a big college sports person in general, unless it's Hockey East and college hockey, then it's UNH Wildcats all the way.
Yes.
But when it comes to football, I'm just sit me down, I'll watch the game, and I'm like, I know some of the players because they're hot players that'll be drafted, but college football, I don't really have a team.
I am more of a college basketball guy when it comes to Duke, not football because their football team sucks. But as far as this fandom thing, it was so intriguing yesterday because Tommy opened up that can of worms, and oh boy, did we respond.
Oh yeah, did we ever?
There's two other teams. Like, I'm a diehard Boston sports fan. I'm always going to root for the Sox, Celtics, Bruins, Red Sox, the Patriots, everybody.
Yep.
But with hockey and football, I've got two other teams that I follow. And I'm a fan of both teams. In hockey, it's the Chicago Blackhawks. The reason it started was in 2010, the second round of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. The Bruins got reverse swept by the Philadelphia Flyers, and I hate Philadelphia sports teams, the burning passion to begin with. So at that point, I'm rooting for everybody under the sun except in the Eastern Conference Finals that year because it's Montreal, and as a Bruins fan, you do not root for Montreal ever.
Right.
So in the Stanley Cup final, I'm rooting for Chicago. I like Patrick Kane. I like Jonathan Taves, Marian Hossa, and I grew to love the team, and I just started following them. And in football, I was young when this happened. Back, like I think I said in the server yesterday, it was when I was young and thought, oh, they're cool. I like them. So the Green Bay Packers became one of my football teams I followed, besides the Patriots. Because I liked their uniforms, I liked their color scheme, and I thought Brett Favre was a good quarterback.
Yeah. Kevin, you bring up a good point. I mean, that's like in football. I mean, yes, I'm a Niners fan, diehard, whatever, but I also do follow the Packers, in a way, because I was always intrigued about Brett Favre and the way he played, and then Aaron Rodgers, the way he came up, the way he did. I was like, wow, two heir apparents, huh? One guy passes the torch to the next guy down there, and just I've always been intrigued by the mystique that is Green Bay, Wisconsin, with the Packers.
Yeah. And with those two teams I like, if you told me pick one if they're facing each other, obviously I'm going to go pick the Boston Bruins over the Blackhawks and the Patriots over the Packers. In fact, 2013, it's Blackhawks Bruins, the Stanley Cup final. And I still remember how dejected I felt when the Bruins in Game 6 are up a goal, and then in 30 seconds, we're now down a goal with a minute and a half to go.
Mm-hmm.
I was so dejected, even though I'm a fan of Chicago. I just was beside myself that we were within 2 minutes of the Game 7. What happened?
Oh, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been that game, but did they have they had a game yes, they did. They had a game in the Stanley Cup. I forget who it was against, but they scored similar goals like that in the game. When they were down, they tied the game, and then they quickly won the game, just like that, to win the championship.
Oh, that was the other day. That was the Ottawa Senators against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Ottawa was down 5-1 and came roaring back and won 6-5 in overtime.
Wow. Yeah. They have that
Same
guy on that
Toronto
team.
Maple Leafs team that last year lost to a backup goalie for the Carolina Hurricanes that also happened to be the Zamboni driver for the Toronto Maple Leafs arena.
Yeah.
So the hits keep on coming for Toronto.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say, what's the driver that Zamboni, Stone Cold Steve Austin?
No, it was not Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Carl, do we have anything coming from YouTube?
Actually, Todd Tummerlin says, Duke, you let me down, Steven. Go Hills.
Oh boy. All right, Todd.
It's on.
I guess
Last thing I want to get to before we wrap it up for tonight. Ezra did ask the question in Discord earlier, and I meant to bring this up when we do this. Let me go back to this question quickly, and then we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. Ezra wants to know who do we hold on. I want to pull up the question correctly.
Can I say something real quick first?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Well, I just want to say that going back to the two teams, right?
Okay.
My dad was like a Raiders fan. He was a diehard. But, I tried getting into it, but, I couldn't. But that was until 2004 I found my team. And it was the year the Steelers went 15-1. Ever since, I've been a Steeler fan since 2004.
Yeah.
The next year, they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
But what happened to the year they went 15-1?
Oh,
Yeah. Don't even talk about it. I know where you're going to go with this.
in the round of the on branch. Touchdown.
Yep. The
They did what
AFC
Steven did on
Championship.
chicken.
Anyway, go ahead, John.
All right, last thing I want to get to. I meant to get this when we were doing baseball, and it totally slipped my mind till now. Who do we think will be the dark horse team in Major League Baseball that could shock everyone?
Ooh. I'm at a crossroads with this one.
I would say St. Louis Cardinals.
I could see that.
Yeah, I got to go with the Cardinals.
While you guys come up with your answers, quick scoring update right now. The New Jersey Devils are beating the Boston Bruins 3-1.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to go with the Cardinals because the Cardinals at some point during a couple of seasons, they always find their ways to get
Sorry,
back.
John, I had an itch.
Things.
Kevin, what about you?
I think it's tough to not say the Cardinals because it just seems like the easy answer.
Mhm.
But I think I'd have to go with the Cardinals. But maybe another dark horse would be the LA Angels.
Yeah, I can see that.
John,
If
we
you look at
actually
the
have a
projected
comment on
standings.
Discord.
Okay, okay. Sorry, Kevin.
Sorry,
No,
Kevin.
it's okay.
From Hijacker Mike Turan says, I'm not thrilled with the A's pickup. And he also goes on to say, shows they let go talent that sticks around to go to sign other talent that's similar but same price.
Yeah, and I think the guy who Hijacker's talking about it was announced today they signed Sergio Romo, the former Giants reliever today. It's not a big move. It's not one that's going to, move the decimal for me. He's more of a reliable setup man, but he's also somebody you can put in. Now,
he also said Rosenthal and Moreland too.
Yeah, but as far as with Romo though, because I remember when he used to pitch for the Giants, and he was never that shutdown guy, but he was always that guy who was reliable as hell. You can have him go 2, 3, 4 innings and it won't be a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
But if nobody else has anything else to talk about, I think it's time we wrap the show up.
Oh wait, John, didn't you said you had a comment that Ezra was?
That was a comment. Okay.
Yeah,
that was a comment.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
But
And,
guys,
one last
yeah,
thing, Mitch
go ahead.
Moreland for Oakland. I think you guys will like Mitch Moreland. I mean, it was a reason Jericho Roberts of Barstool Sports called him Mitchy Two Bags. He rakes. He hits homers.
But yeah, guys, another great show coming up next week. We will have our first installment of our baseball preview. It will be discussed during the week which division we're going to go at first. And then, guys, before you know it, we'll be at our 1 month anniversary.
Yeah.
Of the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
The show started 1 month ago in 2 weeks. So
Yep.
That will be definitely a big show. But Kevin, since this is your first show live, why don't you lead us off for the roundup? Where can people find you on Twitter? And go right ahead.
All right, so Twitter, you guys can go and find me at xrivam13. That's XRIVAM13. And that's about the only social media that I'm willing to go and give out freely. There's not much to go and see. I do not really tweet. I use that more as just my, oh, hey, here's a news item I can go and read about. Oh, hey, here's the latest thread talking about our existential dread known as 2021, masquerading as 2020. So go ahead and follow me. I'm probably not going to do too much.
Flax, what about you? Where can people find you on Twitter?
You can find me at Twitter at Mr_BrokenSN85, or you can find me at onlyfans.com/ just kidding.
Does the hold on quickly? Does your SN in your Twitter handle stand for Steelers Nation? Because they are broken.
No.
Okay, shots are being fired right now.
Anyway,
Yeah, go ahead.
you can find me on Twitter at Steven_Wyand. Just posting wrestling and sports stuff and playing some music and all that other good stuff. So yeah.
Carl?
You can find me at Smoke452.
You can find me at Jon_Blayne. One thing I do want to mention, not going to get into personal details, but I do want to tell everybody to cherish the time you have with your grandparents, because you don't know when they will be gone. Just going to leave it at that. Guys, this has been another installment. Just give me 1 second. I have to just get the final piece taken care of. And guys, this has been another installment of Our Nation Sports Show. We will be back next Thursday, 7 p.m. Until then, that was a wrap.
Peace.
Peace.
You're hot.